Welcome back to the European LCS. I'm here with Lee D-Man Smith and Trevor Quickshot Henry to break down that game. Taylor Swift, Lee Swift, whatever. Anyway, SK Gaming coming out strong here once again. Trevor, what did you make of the team comps coming into this one?
Well, straight up, Gambit had a much later scaling team comp. They had a majority of champions that needed time to build up. Evelyn's great at flanking. She can do well early, but needs to get items to survive those team fights. Lulu and Jax, obviously, all the time in the world to get 2 or 3 items before they're threats. On the other side of the coin, SK just had all the early game champions. Orianna can do well, especially when you combo with a Lee Sin, a Thresh, a Lucian, and a Renekton. But the thing is, Renekton roamed very well, and SK played around their early to mid-game power spike. They waited 10 minutes, then just turned everything on and destroyed Gambit.
Yeah, and it actually started very early on, and when you have Eve and Lee Sin, they can both put some pressure on early game, but it was Svenskeren who came out swinging.
Yeah, Sven was everywhere in that game. As Joe said just at the end there, absolute epic performance from Sven. Fantastically played. You know, every time Diamond tried to make a play, or Gambit were trying to make a play, Svenskeren was already there, waiting in the bushes, lurking, ready to counter. And I think he had like a 96% kill participation, something crazy towards the end of the game. Fantastic stuff.
Up until the last 2 or 3 kills, Svenskeren was involved in every single kill. And it was only once SK were like steamrolling the rest of Gambit that he missed a couple. I do actually want to show highlights of one of the plays that Svenskeren and SK pulled on the bottom lane. So if we pull this up onto your screen, it really just summarizes this entire game. 18 minutes in, SK have already got a 4,000 gold lead. Svenskeren is already 5-2-1. And what you want to look at is how low N rated is for mana and HP. He's burned his ultimate a few seconds ago, and Svenskeren is just baiting all of Gambit. Gambit continued to force things. They were under pressure, they were behind, so they kept trying to make these plays. And Candypan and Svenskeren, they're just going to run Gambit down, grab themselves 2 kills. This was probably the 5th or 6th time we'd seen that exact set of circumstances of Svenskeren in the bottom lane finding kills.
I respect Gambit for trying to make it happen, but when the Lee Sin is 5-2 at that point, there is just not much you can do. Let's talk about Gambit a little bit. Talked about Diamond on Eve, which is one of his best champions historically, and sometimes the synergy between Nick seemed kind of off, between Nick and him.
Yeah, there was definitely a couple of times where they went in and just were not on the same page. Or maybe a Glitterlance missed, and honestly, I hate to be too harsh on the players, but Nick definitely missed a few crucial Glitterlances, which left Diamond to die.
At this level, if you miss that skill shot, the person dies.
Yeah.
If you miss the skill shot, you either get the kill or get away. And in this circumstances, unfortunately, Nick just dropped the ball a few times. There was a few odd-timed wild growths as well. But I think you could also potentially put that on the pressure. They were behind SK. They were falling behind. They'd given up so many kills. That's when your communication is really pushed to the limits. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out for Gambit.
Talking about communication, as we also heard in the bit there after the game, it is so on point from SK right now, and it just seems to be improving so rapidly. Everything we touch on, the week after, they've got it. They're doing it better.
Yeah, crystal clear, and that is really the hallmark of a team that knows what they're doing. You know, nobody's shouting over one another. You heard Freddie say, in base, going to teleport in. Next, he just sat back, went quiet, started teleporting the rest of the team, all talking about the move. Everybody knew their role in that fight. Instead, you'll see some other teams just shouting, just yelling targets. We've heard Impaler talking about Super Hot Crew's communications, and you know they're still 2nd in the table or 3rd in the table currently. They just yell the loudest at the target. It works for some teams, but you've got to think the clearest communications that SK just showed kept Freddy's 100% win rate on Renekton.
Yeah, it's also that clear communication that helps you when you're under pressure.
Yeah.
It's part of the reason SK always bounce back, because when they're a couple thousand gold down in the mid game, they're not freaking out. They're not yelling over each other. They're just like, bro, I got TP, I'll come fight. And they win the fight.
Final question, Trevor. I know we've heard you in the pre-show a lot saying how you think Alliance will end so well this season. How far do you see SK going? Because it seems like with this entourage and the way they're improving so rapidly, we don't know where they're going to end.
I'm terrified, because I made a bold prediction that Alliance were going to win the split. And SK are making me go, maybe I'm not so sure on that. The one thing that we heard from Enrated right at the end there is he mentioned that the team's not scrimming as much and they're working on individual abilities. That shows for Enrated. His Thresh is fantastic. I never really liked his Thresh last split, and he's performed phenomenally this week on that champion. But when you've got that innate team synergy from playing together for 6 or 7 months, you've got the clear communication. You don't need the team-based play anymore. You've got that. It comes down to calling, communication, and adaptation on the fly in-game, which is what SK is showing every match.
And it's funny that you compare them with Alliance because both teams were in exactly the same boat at the start of the spring. Completely new teams thrown together with a purpose to win. And so far, it's looking like they may well be the top two for Europe once again.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, guys. And now let's send it back over to the Fishy Joe at the desk for our next match.
Thank you very much, Shocks. We're ready for that next face-off as Millennium take on the Copenhagen Wolves. Now, this match has traditionally been all about the Copenhagen Wolves after they took all 4 encounters in the spring split and the single match so far in summer. However, yesterday Millennium had a day to forget as they were absolutely destroyed by SK.
Right. It was the same thing we saw against Alliance for Millennium. They were out-rotated on the map and they just had no answer to anything. So SK Gaming picked up a very easy win. And we just have to highlight Curb on Fizz in this game here. He was last pick, so it was his own choice. They left Kassadin open. JS's first picked it. Last pick in the entire game was Curb on Fizz here. He locked it in and then proceeded to go 0-5-0. Of course, the entire team had issues, but he died one-on-one in the mid lane on this Fizz here. He couldn't really do anything. And he said himself in the past, Fizz will lose to Kassadin early on. So I'm not too sure what the idea was for Millennium, but it clearly didn't work for them. And while we were talking so highly of them after week 1, where they picked up 3 wins and only 1 loss, now they're actually on a 3-game losing streak, and things are not looking too good for them, and many teams actually consider them to be on the same level as they were last split, which obviously is not a good thing.
No, but we can also say the same for the Wolves in terms of form. They've really struggled so far this split. They had a single shining light yesterday in the loss to Gambit, and that was their new AD carry Woolite.
Right, Woolite has really shown to be, I wouldn't say a one-man army, but in the last game he was definitely the one carry for Copenhagen Wolves, and they like to play around him as well, build some comps that can really protect him. We saw it in week 1, we saw it yesterday where he went 9-3-9 on Twitch, and he's really been performing so well. And Copenhagen Wolves, they know how to pick up AD carries. And then looking at the performance of the entire team, I'm not sure if we can still talk about building synergy between Airwax, Woolite, of course, and the rest of the team, the 2 new members here. It could be one of the reasons they're still looking a bit shaky, but they need to start picking it up here. They really need to start performing, and they have to beat the lower ranked teams in the league here if they want to move out of this relegation spot, because they lost to Gambit yesterday. They're playing Millennium now, who's also just 2 wins above them, and also, of course, Rocket under them, which they will play next week, I believe. So they need to win these very important matches if they want to move into the playoff spots, otherwise they're just going to be stuck down in relegation.
Critical game for both teams, that's for sure. And while the Copenhagen Wolves believe that shutting down Kerp and Cottonex will be the key to win, Millennium thinks that the Wolves suffer from the same problems they did last split and are going to look to take advantage.
Millennium, we played versus them once in Super Week when they went 3-1. And we're the only team who won versus them.
I guess we need to be more prepared. Like they had Evelyn last time that pretty much flanked us and killed us. So we need to be prepared on their picks and how to counter it.
Millennium looks kind of strong since, well, they're an AR replacement. The whole team got a new spirit. They're playing well overall. I think even in the games they're losing, they look like they can pull out some stuff.
Cap is the best player at the moment in their team. He has good mechanic and good champion pool to carry the team.
They play around mid lane, I think, and jungle. So Kerp can carry. Bot lane is just normal Euro bot lane. They're not like winning lanes or losing lanes, they just go even.
I think like I can compare Copenhagen Wolves to us in the last season with poor decision making and just trying stuff and not really taking any advantage of it.
Copenhagen Wolves will probably be a bit easier. They seem to have the same problems as us, a bit indecisive and a bit lacking on the rotations. So I think we can easily beat them if we get our stuff together.
And we saw yesterday that a focus on Kerp, 0-5-0 on that Fizz game can really throw Millennium off.
So we need to see if they actually want to bend towards it, maybe try and take away LeBlanc from him. Of course, they talked about the Evelyn pick. Millennium talked about the Evelyn pick for Airwax, where he was just so strong against him.
Yeah.
Could expect the ban there, of course. Maybe Kassadin is going to be left open. I mean, Millennium, they have first pick, but they don't actually play Kassadin. I don't think we've seen them play Kassadin at all. So I'm not sure if they want to leave it open or if Copenhagen Wolves want to leave it open and try and get it for themselves.
Well, let's see. First of all, we're going to check out these starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Millennium with Kevin in the top lane, Cottonex in the jungle, Kerp in the mid lane, and the duo of Creaton and J-Ree.
On the red side, we have Copenhagen Wolves. Youngbug is in the top lane, Airwax in the jungle, Kautar as the mid laner, Woolite, of course, as the AD carry, Unlimited on support.
So as the players prepare to pick their champions, let's see how you guys called this game. According to LOLesports.com, 72% of you voted for Millennium.
Well, after week 1, I would agree. Millennium would be heavy favorites going into the game. However, they've looked very, very, very shaky the last few weeks. I mean, the losses to Alliance and SK, I know they are the 2 best teams in Europe at the moment, but still, they got destroyed. And also, we need to see how the confidence is. I mean, after you lose 3 games in a row here, and some of them you didn't really feel like you could do anything, we need to see how they feel coming into this game. I think it's more for 50-50, to be honest.
Well, you say after week 1 you would have said Millennium, but we heard it before that Millennium's only loss in week 1 was to the Copenhagen Wolves. So looking for a bit of pride back and to get away from those losing streaks here. We're going to head into Champion Select and see exactly how this one's going to go down. And bans coming in pretty quickly here as Millennium take away Yasuo and Twitch first of all. The Wolves removing LeBlanc and Jax.
So I like the LeBlanc ban here against Curb. They talked about how they want to shut him down, make sure he can roam around, and Millennium with some very, very fast bans. And they actually ban away the Kassadin. Did the same thing last split, so it's very obvious for everyone they don't play it.
Curb not a fan of Kassadin, which is a strange one for me, considering how long Kassadin's been strong. You also have to wonder, if you don't play Kassadin, is it even worth learning Kassadin at this point? Because he's just banned out so often, 86.7%.
But it is a ban you
far.
use. I mean, even on Blue Side, when you have to ban Kassadin every game, it opens up for a lot of different options for the other team now in the pick and ban phase because they know they don't have to worry about it.
Well, Nidalee was the 3rd and final ban for the Copenhagen Wolves. What are Millennium going to lock in here first? A first pick Teemo would definitely be a turn up for the Bugs. Probably not going to happen though. In fact, it's going to be Ziggs here. So, as you mentioned, with a lot of focus on this mid lane, they want to take the Ziggs first of all.
4 mid lane bans, of course. Millennium feel like we can go first pick Ziggs, take it away from Kautar as well, and we know Kirby loves to play it. Played it a lot in the last split, he also played in this one and actually did really well. I remember him against Selfie on Twisted Fate where he just destroyed him in the laning phase here. Evelyn is still open for Airwax in case he wants to pick it again. Lee Sin, of course, also open. And then if you look at the top laners with Jax being taken away, Renekton, Shyvana, Trundle could be the options. Both top laners actually play all of them.
Well, let's see. The Wolves still got 20 seconds here to decide on their first pairing. And we heard Millennium say that we have to watch out for Airwax on Evelyn for his flanks, which caused them so many problems last time around. They leave it open for them, and Airwax is going to select that, and they take the Thresh for Unlimited, who, whilst they've been losing games, his Thresh has really not looked bad at all.
No, he's actually been pretty good on it. Generally, when it comes to skill shots, I actually like Unlimited as a player. His mechanics are pretty decent. And also like the fact they take it away from Jerry, who of course loves to play it. Same thing here with Evelyn for Airwax. We've seen Cotnex play it before, and we've also seen Airwax play it, and he's really, really good on Evelyn. There's actually games where he picked up over 10 kills on this champion.
On the other side then, Cotnex also locking in his jungler this round as they take Lee Sin. And then we also see an AD carry choice for Millennium. Lucian, who's been picked pretty much every single game so far.
There's a very, very standard picks for both teams. We need to see what Wulai wants to play. Normally the hyper carries really is something he favors. It's something where Copenhagen Wolves like to build comps around him. So as long as he gets some farm, he can be very, very strong in the team fights. And it's a hard tactic to pull off, to protect the AD carry. It actually died out. If you just go like half a year back, if you maybe go a year back to CLG, who used to do it with double lift and protect the AD carry, they stopped doing it. It didn't work for them. Copenhagen Wolves kind of picked it up, did the same thing last split with Forgiven. Sometimes it worked if the AD carry got to the 6th item point where he could just destroy everyone. If not, then it's hard to do pretty much enough damage just being the AD carry.
Well, he takes Kog'Maw this time around. We've already seen him play Kog'Maw before this season. In fact, he had that game against Roccat where he went 11-13 with the Kog'Maw. Fantastic performance there. And Twisted Fate for Kautar in the mid lane.
Okay, so with the Twisted Fate here and the Evelyn you're looking for, a very, very strong pick combo already actually for Copenhagen, who was trying to set up some unexpected fights for Millennium where, of course, Evelyn pops out of stealth, TF teleports in for the fight here and quickly turns it around in favor of Copenhagen Wolves. And we could see Kautar put a lot of focus on making sure Wulad and Unlimited in this bot lane here get some kills early on, gets going, so you get Kog'Maw to his mid or his late game part where, of course, he's becoming so strong, he scales so well.
So for the top lane then, that was the one that the question was really left open here. It's going to be Aurelia for Kevin on the top lane for Millennium. They take Leona as the support along with Lucian for the duo lane. Now, where does Youngbuck go? We already talked yesterday about how AP top laners have just not gone his way. Played 4 AP top laners and lost all 4 games. What's he going to go here against Aurelia?
I mean, if he wants to lock in an AP top lane, Lulu could be the ideal pick because, again, he can protect Woolite, he can try and... he provides a good wave clear with the Twisted Fate as well for Copenhagen Wolves. Otherwise, he could go for the standard tank. I mean, either he goes for the Shyvana Trundle if he wants to be able to do a lot in the late game, or he can go for Renekton if they want to try and shut down Aurelia early on. Twisted Fate joins in, ganks up to the Aurelia here, gets him rolling on Renekton and try to do the same thing SK Gaming did in the last game. However, that's going to be hard because, of course, Woolite needs more time building up where Creaton on Lucian is going to be very strong throughout the entire time of the game.
So, looks like it will be Shyvana in that top lane for Youngbuck as the final choice for the Copenhagen Wolves. What I want to know here is, have they got enough to protect Woolite when it comes to fights?
Well, they're actually not looking to do it. This time around, it's pretty much just going to be unlimited, and then Kautar trying to land a few stuns in the back here while he's setting up things, unless he plays it very aggressive, jumps into the backline with an Hourglass, together with, of course, Shyvana and Evelyn flanking around here. So that's how Copenhagen Wolves could play it. We might see them try and focus more on either split pushing or just picking off targets from Millennium, but they need to be very careful, especially in the laning phase. Lucian, of course, very strong in the lane phase. Ziggs is very strong against the Twisted Fate as well. Lee Sin, we just saw it in the last game, how much you can do early on with Lee Sin here. So Millennium definitely looking for a stronger early mid game compared to Copenhagen Wolves, so we need to see what they can do to actually get to this late game point.
Yeah, wax on the Evelyn that caused them so many problems last time around, and as we said, was the sole defeat for Millennium in week 1, where they actually ended 3-1. But guys, who do you think has the edge after picks and bans? Tweet hashtag MILWin or hashtag CWWin to @LOL Esports, and we'll see who you think landed the better lineup.
For me, I mean, it's hard to say, but I really like the fact that Millennium has some good lanes and at the same time also scales really well into late game point. I mean, Aurelia is very strong in late game team fights, of course. Ziggs scales really well into the late game. Lucian, we always talk about how he's good all around. And at the same time, for Copenhagen Wolves, you want to get Woolite going, you want to get Twisted Fate going, build up a few items before you can really start to carry the game. And of course, Shyvana as well, we always talk about how she needs also to get to late game point. So I feel like overall, Millennium looking very strong throughout the entire game, where Copenhagen Wolves needs to get to the late game point.
And it's going to be interesting to see how Airwax and Kautar in particular really, I think, get this game going for the Copenhagen Wolves. How will they use that destiny, and with the Evelyn already in place to get this game in their favor? We're going to find out, though, as we head into the match. It's Millennium versus the Copenhagen Wolves for the second time this season. And, of course, it's the Copenhagen Wolves that lead the head-to-head at 1-0 in their favor. And both of these teams, to be frank, really need a win.
Yeah, both of them. Millennium, of course, want to bounce back from the losing streak, and Copenhagen Wolves want to get out of this relegation spot, want to get towards the playoff, which is everything these teams are playing for. Get to the playoffs, of course, try and qualify for Worlds, or at least secure your spot in the next season of LCS.
Keep your job at the end of it. That's a very important thing to have. And both these teams, the way that things went last split and the way that they look right now, something needs to drastically change, I think, on both sides of the coin. This match, though, is a good start for both of them, and will give either one a little bit of an edge and a boost of confidence that I'm sure both teams need.
Kautar actually started Ignite here on Twisted Fate. Often you actually see Ghost Flash, and just brings a lot of mobility. Also your ganks, because you can chase with the Ghost, is very, very strong. Decided to go for Ignite here, so really looking to try and set up some kills here, play very aggressive maybe. And of course, cleanse on to Woolite here because he's against Leona. He doesn't want to get locked down.
Once that's down, though, you got to fear for Woolite. We'll see, though. We'll see how this all works out as early ward comes down there on the red side ramp into River. And there's your vote, 53% in favor of the Copenhagen Wolves. So that vote as well, swinging a little bit after picks and bans.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to rely a lot on Airwax on Evelyn, and of course Kautar on this Twisted Fate. If he can survive the laning phase against Kerp here, who of course destroyed Selfie on Twisted Fate in week 1, and then actually start setting up some picks for Copenhagen Wolves, and therefore try and snowball either Youngbuck or Woolite.
So Millennium are invading here. That was already spotted by the Copenhagen Wolves, who themselves are heading towards the Millennium red buff. So looks like a simple exchange of red buffs, and then both junglers will be moving back onto their own side of the jungle to do the blues. In terms of lane swaps, we're seeing that two men, the duo lane for Millennium is headed to the top lane. The duo for the Wolves is staying down bottom, and the whole buddy system going on there as well, with the top laner joining the jungler on the way through the jungle.
And Copenhagen Wolves can actually be very happy with this lane swap because Shyvana and Evelynn together can clear the jungle very, very fast. Both of them, of course, with AoE damage onto the minions here. Not farming together for now. Youngbuck just waiting at the blue buff for Airworks to join him, and then they can do the body system and clear the jungle.
Blue's going to be taken down here quickly. It leaves the option for both top laners and both junglers to join in with their duo lanes and maybe have a bit of a push onto these towers. We'll see if that will actually be the case. It also means that the mid laners are going to have a very much head-to-head game here as they just look for that farm. Early stages of things, Kerp doing slightly better of the two.
Just pushing the lane up a little bit. Kautar gonna push it back towards Kerp here, and both of them, of course, need to be careful because you can get ganked by both the top laner and the jungler here early on with the new lane swaps.
You see Wave gonna be pushed out, which offers a little bit more security to Kerp. Millennium, meanwhile, sending their top laner and jungler onto the top side of that Copenhagen Wolves red side jungle. It's J-Re and Cretan, though, who will be alone doing damage to the tower. Bottom side, there's no push onto the tower from the Copenhagen Wolves. In fact, they sent unlimited top, but he's kind of walked back to base and now he's walking back out again.
Well, so Woolite down this bottom lane decided to pull the minion waves when the very first one spawned in the lane, and therefore got it to push towards Copenhagen Wolves and just been freezing the lane now. So Unlimited, he's free to roam around here. Got level 2 down the bottom lane, then recalled to make sure he can at least do something if a fight should break out. And now just a little bit of damage being trading back and forth here. Both supports also joining in. So 4 members around this mid lane.
That also gives us a bit of deja vu, or Woolite in particular. Against Gambit yesterday, he had 15 minutes to farm absolutely alone. Oh, Youngbuck actually face-checking here into the tri-bush, but no one to join J-Re to put that in. But as I was saying, 15 minutes Woolite had yesterday to farm without any pressure, without anyone in his lane, and so far it's going the same way.
And again, this is why Copenhagen Wolves can be so happy about the lane swap. As long as they can defend this top tower here, make sure this wave won't get frozen by Creaton, then Woolite on a hyper carry who just wanna get to the late game point can just stand down this bottom lane by himself and freeze it for as long as he wants to. Unless Millennium actually moves in to try and push the wave out, he can just pick up so much farm, get first item and get to the point where he can really start doing a lot of damage.
Difference in that game was that Genja, in the pressured of the duo lanes, we can call it, managed to actually keep up in farmers. Kautar going to take a lot of damage. Ignite goes down, mines come in and a flash away from Kautar. Will Kerp risk the flash? Bouncing bomb comes through. Kautar out of range, but he's going to have to recall.
And we talked about how Ziggs can do so much damage onto Twisted Fate here, and forcing the flash away from Kautar and putting a lot of pressure. Airworks staying around there, still unspotted actually. Kerp didn't see him. Should maybe just try and push out the wave here so Kautar can actually recall.
Well, Kautar's going to try and recall, but I've got a feeling that another bouncing bomb will be headed his way. Yeah, that recall was just cancelled out, and Kerp can just do this over and over, but there is Airwax actually appearing out of thin air and will do a lot of damage back on towards Kerp.
And notice down this bottom lane here, Kevin actually went down to try and push the wave out, and as soon as Copenhagen Wolves saw him, Unlimited, he just ran all the way down to the bottom lane, so there are 2 members again to try and zone him away from as much farm as possible. So very good move so far by Copenhagen Wolves. Of course, this tower up top is taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Youngbuck also taking a lot of damage there. J-Re had to tank 2 tower hits for the pleasure, but they've got Youngbuck very, very low. May force him to actually recall with that wave. Finally, Millennium add a second man to this bottom lane as well to try and defend. There's a huge wave coming through here from the Copenhagen Wolves side of the minions. So Airwax again visits mid. Kautar has come back in there, and Kerp is trying to recall. Will be cancelled out. I think wildcards will have come through there to stop that happening.
So now Copenhagen Wolves finally getting some damage on the tower here. The top one we just talked about before is very, very low already. We're going to Kevin here.
It's a good hook, but not much.
Little bit of poke.
Oh yeah, it's actually a decent amount of follow that they got onto him there. And as Kevin comes out for the minions,
look at Kautar, level 6.
Yeah, he is level 6, so he could come down to this bottom lane. They could dive this one.
They could dive it. Airworks joining in as well. He's down to 50% HP, so he won't be the guy tanking the tower. Kevin has been hooked. There we go.
There we go. Twisted Fate going to join in. Kevin's the one that's low. Unlimited tanking up the tower. The first blood going over to the AD carry, and can't knock the Copenhagen Wolves there on that one. They are going to lose this top tower for the pleasure, though.
Yeah, so they got first ball onto the hyper carry. They also managed to get assist on the 4 members from Copenhagen Wolves. Denied a lot of farm from Kevin here. Could even be forcing Kevin now to either go top lane if he wants to get some farm or return here to face Woolite, who's so far ahead. Very good move, honestly, even though they lost the top tower.
Youngbuck will actually do a lot of damage here to J-Re. AD carry was already mid-recall as Coulthard again feeling that pressure as soon as he goes back into that 1 versus 1. But that's the question that we really had. How good is Coulthard going to be with this Twisted Fate? How is his Destinies going to shape the game for the Copenhagen Wolves? And so far, a kill for 1 Destiny used. Doesn't get much better than that usually.
Nope, and it's going to be all about his ult here because, again, it's such a risky matchup he picks here. And he knew, of course, going into the game, facing a Ziggs, especially Curb on it, would be very, very hard. So just rely on setting up kills for the team here. And, of course, the first gank was a great success for him. And now, of course, they want to try and shut down this Kevin, who is behind. Level 5 on Shyvana, only level 4 on Kevin.
Now at level 6 there as well, so he has his ultimate available. Youngbuck must be getting a little bit closer to hitting his ultimate as well. But Airwax deciding, okay, Kevin's not going to come far enough out for us to be able to lock him up. Kevin's still got his flash intact as well, so no real pressure for them. However, this could be different as the blue buff going to be started off by Millennium, and Airwax is waiting with Smite available.
With Smite here, Cotnex waiting for Curb to come out and grab it. Should be able to Smite steal it. There we go.
Classic,
nothing better.
Classic Evelyn move.
Yeah.
Moving in, and that, you know, it becomes even easier when the jungler says, okay, I'm going to smite it, and Curb, you just come along, throw a bomb in there, and we'll take it away. But unfortunate for Millennium, and Curb probably going to be slightly annoyed at that one, the fact that he's not going to get a blue buff, unless they, of course, challenge for the Copenhagen Wolves blue buff with it, which is already up and in position.
Well, it should at least buy some time for Coulthard to actually get some farm here and don't get constantly poked down by a Ziggs, because once you get blue buff to Ziggs, it's just poke, poke, poke all the time. But because Coulthard is very low, Cotnex is level 6, feeling very strong. They actually want to try and go for this one, just too late, and Coulthard managed to pick up the blue buff.
In the brush as well, so not much that they could do about that one. Meanwhile, the duos are now head-to-head in the bottom lane. Nice little lead for Woolite there, 83 to 74 CS, plus, of course, that first blood that they got earlier on, and now Airwax is coming down bottom as well.
And we saw last game how much you can do with the lantern here when you're playing the Thresh, of course, and they might try and set something up. Airwax still staying behind. No pink ward, of course, to actually spot him out.
And that's the danger. Ward in the brush, but doesn't give you any advantage whatsoever because the Wolves have that Evelyn. They do, however, have Lee Sin around just in case that were to actually end up kicking off, and it is actually going to kick off because they go towards Woolite. Solar Flare comes down. Woolite will use his cleanse and was able to walk a little bit further away from that one. There's the kickback. The bomb's coming through. The bomb, will he get anyone? It does. Kriatson actually finishes off the kill there, and the Wolves going so low from that one.
And that was such a smart play by Millennium. Everything actually started in the mid lane here. Curb, he pinged for the team to know that Twisted Fate wasn't in the laning phase, so they knew, okay, Copenhagen Wolves want to set something up here. As soon as Coulthard returned to the mid lane, they re-engaged because they knew, okay, now he won't be able to pour down. Curb could interrupt him, and therefore took the fight with the Lee Sin again and just destroyed Millennium on it. Oh, sorry, Copenhagen Wolves picked up a dragon as well and double buff onto Kriaton.
Double buff on the AD carry. Sat 1-0-0, and Woolite, despite his initial kill, is going to find this lane a little bit harder to work with now, with all that extra pressure coming his way. And again, J-Re setting things up nicely again, landing the Zenith plate, getting the stun off, a good Solar Flare. Woolite using his cleanse, but not always enough, as we've just seen.
Twisted Fate with teleport. Walking down towards this bottom lane here. Airwax is there once again. They want to get this double buff.
They're going to go for it. J-Re actually moving a little bit far out. Will he kill off Unlimited though? J-Re actually in so much trouble. He'll be finished off. And it's Woolite that actually gets the kill in the end.
So they managed to pick up a kill here. Pretty good timing because Curb has recall in this mid lane. So Coulthard will be able to return and pick up farm as well. Good setup by Copenhagen Wolves. Using the Twisted Fate pretty well so far. But also very good communication from Millennium in the last fight.
Coulthard gonna spot himself a pink ward there. Extra bit of gold, and could do with some boots at this stage as well. I think it's taken him a while to actually walk into position to get those Destiny ganks off, although can't really knock him. He's done it twice, and they've picked up 2 kills for the pleasure of it. Let's have a look down some of the items here. as we get a bit further into game. Both mid laners got themselves that Athene's Unholy Grail. Kerp got a slight advantage there since he got that second Doran's Ring.
And also then this bottom lane here. Double buff, of course, onto Creaton. He managed to pick up 1 kill, but has 2 kills on the side of Woolite, so should be able to complete his Blade of the Ruin King very, very soon. Maybe even actually in the next recall. And then start building towards possibly a Trinity Force. Could really use it now where Copenhagen Wolves have a team who can't really protect him too well. The Trinity Force would give a lot of mobility for him, make him at least make it easier for him to survive a fight where Millennium might jump onto him.
Well, now Blade of the Ruin King is done. Bloodthirster on the other side. Look at this, Airwax moving up to the top lane. They've got Lease in there once again, and Airwax is going to ulti down. There is Kevin right in the mix, and they turn things around. Airwax now on the back foot will actually flash back into the lane. The whole time Kevin's taking damage. Is Kevin going to fall? Is he going to die? He is going to go down. Youngbuck gets that one. Can he finish off Carnex as well? Didn't dare to chase underneath the tower. 1 for 1.
And the flash from Airwax here actually secured the kill onto Kevin afterwards, because Millennium had to use so much time on actually killing him when the Sonic Wave missed, and therefore managed to pick up a kill in return for Youngbuck. So 1 for 1. Again though, Lee Sin always being the right place, finding the Evelynn, taking the fights.
And that's something that they said. We have to be careful of the flanks. Made me think maybe an Evelynn ban would come out, but obviously they've studied the paths that Airwax has been taking here, because Carnex is in the right position at the right time pretty much the entire time so far.
Yeah, and Kerb as well here, stealing away the raves from poor Cowtard.
Always a bonus.
Always a bonus, of course.
So, let's see a pink ward down in his own jungle. Get a bit of vision back. The pink ward out the back of the red buff is still there. That's something that Airwax will want to get away if he's to think about ganking up towards his top lane and moving across to the middle as well. But it looks like both teams are quite happy at this stage to get back into a little bit more farming. Youngbuck now has the level advantage and got...
Pretty much had it the entire time,
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, look at the CS lead that he's got there. It's pretty huge.
He's really been doing a good job with the lead he got from the lane swap. Now Cowtard ganking onto Kevin.
And Kevin's dead. There's 3 of them right on top of him. Okay, I'm saying he's dead. I'm going to take that back because maybe he'll pull off something amazing here, but he's running off towards the execute. Is he going to be able to get it? Cowtard, as I said before, needs some boots because he is slow right now. And now Kevin actually is moving south. He's going to try and get away from it.
He's going to get out. I mean, Lee Sin is there to help him. Kerb could join in as well. So the very, very slow Twisted Fate. Again, this is one of the reasons a lot of Twisted Fate players actually go Ghost, because then they can chase on for the kill and, of course, also buy some boots early on.
And Kevin just TPs straight to the top lane and carries on farming. You know, I'm fine with being corrected when it's a nice little escape like that, but there were 3 men on top of him. You don't expect him to get away from it as
there was no flash.
Spectacularly like he did.
No, but still, at least we see, again, the idea behind the Twisted Fate pick. Every time the ulti is ready, Cowtard is looking for the gank here. Samurai didn't work, and the bomb! Oh, Kerb as well. Beautiful.
And that's the thing that we've seen over
Why didn't
and over.
Airwax smite it? He had smite. He knew the bomb would actually get the golem. I'm not sure why he was waiting for Cowtard when he could see the bomb would land and smite it away.
Oh, he did use smite.
No, he used it afterwards on the wolf camp.
Okay, well. That's a question you're going to have to ask him later, Deficio, I think. Oh, Jerry almost landing the Zenith Blade onto Unlimited down bottom. This lane, despite the early pressure that was on it, is actually quietened down for now. And we heard in the pre-game video that Woolite said, you know, bottom lane, they don't necessarily win, don't necessarily lose, but they always seem to go even. But now we see the jungle pressure once again. Carnex and Airwax both going to be there. They're going in towards Unlimited as the culling comes through. Airwax kicked away. Here comes the TP down into the bottom lane from Youngbuck. Can they lock anyone up? Youngbuck's going to dive on right in the middle of them. And surely the range of Kog'Maw will be enough. No! Carnex gets away with hardly any help.
So Millennium managed to back away from this one. Dragon, however, is going to spawn in 20 seconds. Copenhagen was staying around here. Could get some wards and try and set up for the Dragon. No teleport, and Kevin, of course, had to use it after his chase. And I just have to correct myself from before. There was actually about 2 seconds on the smite from Airwax when the blue buff was stolen by Kerb. So he did do everything he could.
So you answered your own question.
Yes, that was why he didn't smite it.
Because he didn't have smite. Dragon Timer obviously wasn't there for the Copenhagen Wolves. They just walked to it thinking, yes, we got a kill, or almost got a kill. Alleviate the pressure, now we get a Dragon, but without the timer, that becomes a little bit harder. However, they've got wards down there, so they'll be seeing when that one and is now available for them. see what their moves, because Millennium, of course, are all back onto the map.
But it's going to be Millennium moving for the Dragon. No teleport onto Shyvana here up in this top lane. Kevin recalled now running from base to this Dragon here. So Millennium are going to be 5 members. And Youngbuck, he's stuck up in this top lane.
And it's a long way to walk.
Moving
However,
down though.
He is
Moving
walking.
Down.
We'll see if the Copenhagen Wolves can actually delay this one long enough. Stop Millennium from taking it before Youngbuck can actually get involved in this one whatsoever. There is the Destiny pop. Where is Twisted Fate going to go? Is he even going to use that Destiny? There is the Dragon going down in favor of Millennium. Good Lantern, but that may just leave Airwax to his death here down the bottom. Lee Sin will follow through. Kriaton actually going pretty low from this, but Carnex gets up the kill along with the Dragon. Good move from Millennium.
Dragon 1 kill as soon as they saw Youngbuck actually recall from the Dragon before Kevin recalled himself and just ran from the base to the Dragon, knowing he was going to be there. Youngbuck wouldn't be, and therefore they could take it and also go for the kill. And poor Airworks, he's not lucky on the summoners. The flash was almost ready, and then he died.
Kerp again just knocking Kautar against the wall with the satchel charge. Done a fantastic job of getting his farm roll in this game. 194 to 157. 2 assists to his name. He'll be moving up towards that. Rabadon's death cap soon. Already got his needlessly large rod, as is the case, by the way, over with Kautar. We've only seen 1 tower go down so far this game. 18.5 minutes in. That may actually change here. Woolite onto the Millennium outer turret, and he just throws the damage at Kriaton and takes a Lantern.
I like the way he plays, man. He's so manly just staying there. And Kerb as well. A lot of damage onto Kautar.
Kautar in trouble. Actually, we'll use a flash, but the bomb comes through. Ignite!
Got him!
Ignite! One more tick there from Kerb, and it manages to finish him off. And just as you think the flash was enough for him to actually get away, the bomb follows through. Brilliant again from Kerb.
Yeah, he really loves this matchup here. Again, he did it back in week 1 against Self. He just destroyed him on Twisted Fate, picked up kills by himself, doing the same thing here against Kautar. Ulti is going to be ready soon though for Kautar, so let's see if he want to do something once he actually gets out from the base. The mid lane is being pressured, and now Codnex coming down to the spot lane. Nice Lantern once again.
The way to safety. Is that enough here for the turret though? Down to hardly any HP. Survive. Just about. That lane manages to stay alive. And yeah, Ziggs performances, if we want to touch on that again. Pretty much Kerp has picked Ziggs when he can. If it's not banned, and if LeBlanc's banned, then he's going to be taking that Ziggs. As we see Kautar again moving down to bottom. Destiny is available for him, but the turret is still there, and they see Kautar down the bottom there now because of that ward inside of the Tribush, so he will walk away. But we've seen everything from Kerp on Ziggs, stealing buffs left and right, stealing Barons even with the Ziggs bomb as well.
Yes, he really, really loves Ziggs, and it's funny because when you talk with him, he always is like, yeah, you know, you're going to play, I want to play Fist, I want to play Assassin all the time, and then whenever he picks the Ziggs, he just does so well, every time.
Mastering, especially the satchel charge. He seems to always knock them against the wall, get that mini stun from it, and then really push through the damage. You saw, of course, the 1v1 earlier as Kautar died to that last tick of Kerp's Ignite. You can see how passively Kautar's having to play this lane, because if he comes too far out, Kerp's going to attack.
So there's no ward this time for Millennium on the blue buff, so Kerp would have to go for a blind stun. I don't think he's going to try. There should be a blue buff now for Kautar. Again, ulti is ready for him, Flash is not. However, he did pick up some boots this time, a little bit faster. Not upgraded yet, however. We need to see where he wants to set up a gank. Every single member from Millennium with Flash at the moment, and everyone is actually in a fairly good position to avoid a gank.
It's hard to really set anything up when Millennium aren't pushed up really anywhere on the map at all. Bottom lane went back, top lane went back. Ziggs, of course, in the mid lane. He's going to be 1 versus 1. And, well, there's the kill.
Yeah, well, Airworks was moving around this jungle pretty well. And meanwhile, Codnex just said, I don't care where you are, I'm just going to go dive the mid lane here. There was, of course, no flash on Kautar, and another kill picked up by Kerp.
And maybe now moving down towards this bottom side. Kevin
coming behind
is
them.
going to use the TP. Woolite's in trouble. Takes a Lantern, but the Solar Flare will land. Cleansed away from instantly. They want Unlimited first of all, but Woolite will be the second target. Kriaton is going to get the kill on that one. I think Woolite might be far enough away to stop this being a problem to him. He's already headed on towards the top side of his jungle. Millennium, they don't need to chase you. They can push the mid lane.
Yeah, and again here, using the teleport really well by Millennium, and also using the fact that Curb is so far ahead in this mid lane here. We actually see the replay, the kill onto Kautar, of course, Airworks is very far away. Kicks him straight into the ulti, that was beautiful. And then they use the fact that the tower is gone and Kautar is there to just move around the bottom lane and then set up the gank. And now Copenhagen was looking for a fight.
Coming back in, damage coming towards Curb. He will have to flash away, and there's a lot of damage coming back their way. Destiny's going to be used. Youngbuck dives in towards Kevin, but where is Twisted Fate going to go? He went off to the side, picked up the kill on Ziggs, and manages to survive through all the damage as well. So nice little reply from the Wolves.
Also managed to stop Millennium from killing the tower here. Picked up a kill, and now they're actually pushing down a little bit. Don't have enough minions or actually enough members to actually do it. Dragon spawning in 50 seconds, so still have to wait for it. Can just go back to lanes, pick up some farm, and prepare for the dragon.
So 22 minutes, 45 in. Let's take a look at where we are with gold. 2,500 is the lead that Millennium have. 3-1 up in turrets, a couple of kills going their way as well. And on the farm side, some areas it's looking good. Curve, for example, in the mid lane is massively ahead of Kautar, 250 to 187 CS. However, top lane goes the other way in favor of Youngbuck. 80 carries, pretty much bang even.
Bang even here, and of course Copenhagen was just waiting for Woolite to scale up to the late game, waiting for Kautar as well to pick up some items. Therefore, the fact you could actually get a kill onto Curb was a very big thing for him. Ulti isn't ready now, so he can't set up a gank before the dragon, so Copenhagen Wolves just have to go down and start it straight up. Youngbuck from this top lane is running down, Kevin and Kreaton actually running from the base, so at the moment Copenhagen Wolves just waiting around, also of course for Woolite coming in. Could see a very big fight starting here.
We talk so often about how strong Ziggs is at controlling those mini waves, stopping the sieges or sieging up himself, but this is another one of his strong points, poking constantly in dragon pits and what have you as that fight is going to kick off. Kautar's caught out, he's dead. Kreaton picks that one up, and now they go for Airwax. He actually sidesteps the ultimate out of Leona. Well, they're going on towards the dragon. Millennium. Kevin just completely taking Youngbuck out of the fight in the mid lane. Millennium again come later to Dragon, end up getting a kill, and then the Dragon, and they're going to have the tower as well.
Pick up the tower, oh, onto Unlimited here. Nope, Kevin backs away, didn't want to fight as soon as the rest of Copenhagen Wolves joined in here. But the engage from Millennium with Jerry first landing the stun and Codnex kicking someone from Copenhagen Wolves into the team here. It's just easy for them to get the first kill. And then because Kevin was fighting Youngbuck here and winning the one-on-one so heavily in his favor, Millennium just felt they could just go straight for the fight down here. Knew Kevin could join in later, picked up a kill again, picked up a dragon.
We see Trinity Force for Irelia. That's where Kevin now feeling a lot more comfortable and where he can absolutely destroy Youngbuck. There wasn't really much of a contest in that mid lane. It's more like will be gifted a red buff. So, that gold, I was talking just a few moments ago how it was about 2,500. That's jumped considerably. That's over 5,000 gold now in favor of Millennium. Here we see once again Codnex coming in, and the Lantern for the millionth time possibly this game, pulling Woolite to safety.
So Woolite actually went for the static shift instead of going Trinity Force here, so really relying a lot on his position and also on Millennium. I mean, if Jerry lands a stun onto him and Cleanse is gone, there's nothing he can do to survive. He's just going to get locked down and they're going to jump onto him, unless of course there's a Lantern from Unlimited. So he's putting a lot of faith into Unlimited, and also his own positioning and his use of Cleanse, of course, in these fights here.
Also did see in the meantime Kautar go down and finish off the outer tower of Millennium, and that was only the second tower pickup of the game for the Copenhagen Wolves. Is Youngbuck going to come out? They need to run away completely from this one because there are 4 men now, 4 Millennium gathering around. We've got Kevin down the bottom lane. Actually doesn't have a TP, but Youngbuck does. But if you've got 4 men in your lane, you can't do anything with the TP.
If they know Kevin is gone from the team here and there's no teleport, they're moving all the members up here. They could start a fight. Millennium, though, wisely enough, just backs away as soon as they see Copenhagen Wolves moving because they know Kevin is so far away. This mid lane tower, though, taking a lot of damage from Woolite.
Yeah, he's been left alone on that one, and Millennium looking a little bit disjointed here. A couple of them coming back, a couple of them going back towards the top lane. In the end, they all go back top lane. Kevin still doesn't have... now, he just literally just came off cooldown, so he's got the TP. That means that they can actually stick around and do some damage and maybe take this inner tower.
Yeah, they were basically just thinking a little bit too far ahead here, so they just went up to the top lane to set up the whole push because they knew teleport would be ready soon. Just wasn't ready in time, and therefore they actually gave up the mid tower for nothing. Copenhagen Wolves though, his tower is already down to 50%. It's going to be hard for him to defend it.
Really going to go completely as Woolite going to get connected onto there with the Q of Lee Sin, and actually he's gone in there. They kick Unlimited back though. That's a kill for nothing. Nicely set up again by Cornex.
Such a nice play by Cornex. They're going for Youngbuck though.
He's in the middle of nowhere. He's dead as well. Not really. I'm not really sure what he was trying to do in that scenario. Millennium all pretty much decently full when it comes to health bars. And now Millennium starting to back away. Airwax, is he going to face check here? Jerry waiting off to the side.
No flash.
Oh, and he comes in. There is Jerry flashing in. Stun card is pulled, but that won't save him. Cornex gets himself another one. 3-0-6. And for a second game in a row, Lee Sin coming up wonders.
It was like watching a horror movie. You just knew, okay, the killer would be there. He just walks straight into them. They go into him, and that's an easy kill. Millennium now onto the Baron, of course. And this fight before here, all set up by Connex, and now onto Woolite.
Oh, that's a good flash, but flash into a Cullen nonetheless, and Creatine will get that one. Airwax in the meantime coming in. He gets bounced away by the satchel charge. Not sure that Airwax is living through it. Kurt gets that kill. Did the Baron reset? No, it didn't.
Perfect.
Kind of did start to regen, but doesn't really matter. It's going to be taken down. Unlimited's got to be some kind of crazy thresh hero. He's not even going to try. Baron goes to Millennium.
So all this here actually started with Cottonex setting up a beautiful play up in the top lane where he jumps onto Woolite, trying to bait out a flash here from Woolite. Woolite doesn't use it. Unlimited was actually standing further away. It's just an easy kick then. He doesn't flash because he doesn't expect to be the target. So Cottonex just kicks him back to the team, pick up one kill. Youngbuck then was behind the team trying to flank around before Unlimited died, and it was just an easy pickup for them. Another kill, move down. Carter was the next target, of course. Woolite as well. Millennium just taking one kill, another kill, and then they take the Baron, and then take another kill. So very, very strong play for them. As soon as they managed to set up this team fight here, it took so many kills. Everything set up in the start by Cottonex.
Kills are in such good places as well. Creatine on Lucian, 5-0-3, Trinity Force, Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, got a Vamp Scepter now as well. 4-1-6 in the mid lane for Kurt. We've seen his damage. No wonder. Death Cap with the Themes Unholy Grail, Void Staff, and another needlessly large rod as well. So hard to compete with that.
Now the question is, for Millennium, in the past we have seen games where they don't know how to close them. When they have the lead, they have the Baron buff and everything, and don't manage to do anything with it for like 20 minutes and therefore open up for the other team to get to late game, give them a lot of farm. We need to see now if they've improved and now can use the advantage to actually finish this game.
And especially with the Ziggs, that's what you'd expect them to do, to get to the tower, poke as much as they possibly can, and then, well, Copenhagen Wolves might just have to back away from it. But there we go, Destiny's going to be used. Airwax's going to flank around the side. Where are they going to go? It's Youngbuck, they're trying to get into the middle. Kerp is actually going to throw the bomb up in the air. Youngbuck will be finished off another back. Kevin is absolutely destroying everyone. Cullen comes through as well. And just like that, the Copenhagen Wolves try to find something in this game, and they lose 3 men.
Yeah, we had Hourglass on to Carter here, so he wanted to engage, pop the Hourglass, and hope for Millennium to just group on him, and then the Copenhagen Wolves could jump in with Evelyn, with Shyvana, of course, with all their damage and try and kill Millennium here. But they're just pushing on. Inhibitor is gone. 10 seconds on Unlimited. He's the first member to spawn, so they're just gonna back away.
Almost forgetting that last hit onto the inhib there, but did get it finished off. So nice move once again from Millennium. They're regenning up with that Baron buff on, and this should be the final turret outside of the base.
So look at the fight here. Kauta engages in with Hourglass, just pops it instantly as he joins. Rest of Copenhagen Wolves comes in there. Woolite is stunned in the backside here, and down the bottom of it, Youngbuck is dead. And from here on, there's just nothing Copenhagen Wolves can do because they're so far behind. As soon as they engage, pretty much fails from Coulthard because, again, nobody from Millennium actually bites onto it and just stays in a group. They instantly spread out multiple sides here, multiple threats, moving different ways. So Copenhagen Wolves couldn't shut anyone down instantly, and therefore Millennium just turned the fight around.
Damage from Kerp is becoming a little bit too much. Looks like they want to try it again. Cottonex is basically the human ward to spot Evelyn trying to flank this time around. And there is a bit of a scan. Are they going to be able to get onto it? One thing that they do have here, the Copenhagen Wolves, with Twisted Fate half an hour into the game, he's still got decent wave clear, but they just can't hold on to the damage as the bomb comes through. The Cullen follows. It's not enough to actually pick up a kill, but they almost got 1, 2, maybe even 3 of them from that. They get this tower. They might not be quick enough, the Wolves, to come back and save the inhib tower.
I like this play from Millennium, being so aggressive, knowing they have so much damage here to just force Copenhagen Wolves back every time. Second inhib should go down here, and now they're just backing away. So very, very good use of the Baron buff for Millennium.
Gold galore probably over on the Millennium side of things. So again, 6-0-3 on Lucian, 3-0-10 on Cottonex, making the play similar to how well Svenskeren did in that last game. Millennium just back away, gonna take themselves another dragon. They've had all of the dragons so far. I believe that's their 4th. The Baron, they're 8-3 up in turrets, doing so well across the map. And you have to wonder a couple of times, the Copenhagen Wolves were first to dragon, but they were pushed away from it, lost 1 or 2 men in the fights, and then lost the dragon itself.
And also there was the time where they actually had a gank in bottom lane, used teleport, and dragon didn't spawn because they had the wrong timer, or didn't have the timer at all. So they actually went down, got nothing from it, then Millennium just moved down, picked up the dragon. Now trying to set up a little trap here, waiting for someone like Kevin to actually go up and clear the minion wave, and therefore manage to pick up a kill. Just expecting Millennium to go for this last tower up in this top lane here, therefore waiting. Let's see who's gonna face check.
J-Ree.
Well, he can do it.
He's got a Randuin.
Oh, Kevin.
Might actually be Kevin. Hook comes out. They're going to go for Kevin. They will take him down here as well. And the trap works out for the Copenhagen Wolves. Gives them 1 kill back, though. And I'm not sure if... Oh.
Seeing it.
Worse.
They're all gone. No!
Cottonex, what is he doing? Face checking it. It's a good kick onto Youngwok. That was a bit of a comedy of errors from Millennium there.
But still, look here. The base taking so much damage already. The minions actually just going in here. Counter wisely enough. Ults back to try and kill as many as possible. Don't want to lose any of these towers here. So Millennium, even though they lost a member, still pushing up.
Pushing up that top lane onto the final inhibitor. And there's super minions coming from the bottom lane. There's another wave in the mid lane pushing up as well. I'm not sure that the Wolves can afford to try and defend this third inhib.
It's actually a very smart ward by Copenhagen Wolves, because then Youngbuck with home guard, didn't actually have home guard, but anyway, Youngbuck could teleport behind Millennium and then just flank them and jump onto them. They saw it, cleared it with the sweeping lens. Well, he could have had home guard and do it as well.
You can TP him behind a home guard on off.
He could still TP behind them, so it was very smart they actually cleared it out from Millennium side.
We got you.
That's all.
That's all good. Youngbuck in the meantime is
Buy
down
home guard, please.
on that bottom lane. And Millennium, pushing up another wave in the mid lane. And Kevin's now coming back, probably feeling a little bit silly after getting caught out there by a full 5-man team of the Copenhagen Wolves, who are camping out nicely. And here is the possible fight as the Wolves sending airwax around the side. No Destiny, so Kautsard can't do the old Messiah trick of diving in there and using his Zhonya's as he did to little effect really in that last time that they did it here in the mid lane. Also, Baron's coming up in 30 seconds, something we should also keep an eye on.
Millennium actually just waiting for Wolves to engage onto them because they are so much stronger. Don't really want to risk going in and poking too much onto the inhibitor, because from Unlimited or Airwax coming around from the side here could be very, very deadly. Still, Millennium are so far ahead and so much stronger.
One hit. What they got there is Airwax is going to come around the side. Youngbuck diving in the middle, but the bomb already goes off. They've killed off Unlimited, but there is a kill back here for the Wolves. This is definitely not over. It's a double, in fact, coming out for Kautsard as a good flash from Airwax. Gets him away from danger, but 3 men is still alive. And they're the 3 fed guys that I was talking about earlier, and they get the inhibitor anyway.
And this time Woolite was actually left untouched in the backline, therefore he could destroy Kevin and then J-Ree afterwards. Millennium then went on to Unlimited, killed him, and therefore on Youngbuck afterwards. Can I quote Kobe here and say that teleport really sucked?
Well, it was a Destiny #1, so
still a teleport.
Cooldown's not as long. I'm not really sure what Kautsard was hoping for in that moment. He obviously thought it could.
He was trying to buy time for the team. No, he was trying to buy time for the team to chase up here, and he would then Sonya's once he came in, and they could join in and actually pick up some kills. Just didn't work for him because the team were too far away. But this is still risky here. Kevin though teleporting in.
Kevin coming in might just be enough, and he's going to be able to keep Cogmore away. The bomb lands. Kevin needs one more. Oh, flash away from Woolite. Left him on hardly anything. And Millennium in the end do get themselves the Baron. And another kill.
Another kill here for Millennium. So still very, very far ahead. Got a mid inhibitor down as well. Could go for the bot one now and then go up to top lane again, trying to finish the game this time around with the Baron. At least they are very, very far ahead. And still, I mean, Kautsard again, yeah, so it didn't work for him, but he tried to just delay Millennium here so the team could catch up, pick up a few kills, and maybe Copenhagen Wolves would have gone for the Baron instead. So at least he tried to do something. He knew they were very far behind and just want to try and make a play.
Not really much more to do trying to make plays. You have to take those risks at this stage.
Exactly. I mean, you have to try something.
The game's over anyway. So let's have a look. Morellonomicon picked up. Also picked up on his last trip home.
Sounds very Danish.
Yeah.
Hodor.
So, Millennium, where are they going to go next? Bottom lane, of course, open inhibitor. Not much that can be done to defend that one. There'll be a blue buff as well for Creaton, who's 606 over the 300 CS mark. Actually picking himself up a bit of magic resist on his last trip home. They had, I think, between 1,500 and 2,500 gold a piece to actually spend the last time they went in there. And now they move again towards that open inhibitor. The Wolves going to start to get in. Young, but can't afford to take too much damage before a fight starts.
And this time Millennium plays the pink ward behind him to see Airwax when he comes in to try and flank around. They can take this inhibitor here. Youngbuck took so much damage, just had to back away.
Oh, Q landing onto Kautar there. No follow through though. And Airwax will be forced to run away from this one. They're onto him though. Actually, they managed to find Airwax here. Connex gonna kick him. Airwax though will take a lantern back into the base, but will that be enough damage for them to actually get back around? Kerp again knocking them all over the place with that satchel charge.
Connex actually tried to kick Flash Airwax here, but because he kicked him first and didn't flash in time, he ended up just kicking him, then flashing onto him, and therefore Airwax could just take the lantern and back away. Millennium though, it doesn't really matter, because they can just keep poking away here and pushing onto the tower.
Limited. Poked down instantly by Kerp as another wave gonna come flying through. There's more damage. They've managed to hook in Connex, but do they really want that? Youngbuck dove into the back. Connex actually going down, but they've locked up Woolite. They're gonna dive straight in. The bomb comes through. Kautar goes low, and right now that's a 1 for 2. Make that a 3 for 2, and this is gonna be Airwax dying as well. Double kill for Woolite before he died. 4 men down on the Wolf side, only 2 on Millennium side. Kautar's gotta be the hero.
And again though, it's Jerry setting up the stun, setting up the engage for Millennium. He's been doing it the entire game. Such a great performance by him. Super minions coming in here, Kerp poking away onto Kautar. Millennium should be able to finish this.
Oh, Kautar possibly dead. He's gonna Zhonya's, but that's not gonna save him. The satchel charge was finished off. That's an ace in the end for Millennium, and they're just gonna run straight through the base as the Nexus turret goes down. The Nexus will follow. A solid win, a much needed win here for Millennium.
We talked about how Copenhagen Wolves were weak in the early game here. They needed a lot of farm. They needed some good ults from Kautar and Twisted Fate to really get going. Want to get a lot of farm on Woolite, of course, where the Millennium lineup were a lot stronger in the early mid-game parts, and they used it to get ahead here, especially Kerp on Zex in his mid lane. Credit to Kautar, had some very nice ults in the early mid-game here, setting up kills for Copenhagen Wolves. Just wasn't enough because Kerp got so far ahead, and of course Creaton on Lucian got so far ahead as well. So once it broke out to team fights, Millennium were just stronger and took full advantage of it.
And you see why pretty much more than half the games, Millennium's opponents have chosen to ban Ziggs against Kerp. And when they don't, he always seems to put up big games. We can all remember that game against the Super Hot Crew. He finished 11-3-6 in this one. Just outdone himself. 11-1-11 he finished at the end of that game. So returning to his week 1 form.
Yeah, and yesterday 0-5-0. He made negative points in fantasy. Today is a completely different story if you have Kerp here with such a great performance. And again, picking Twisted Fate into Ziggs, we've seen it before, it's such a risky move, and it just gave him pretty much a free lane to get all the farm he needed, get the kills, and use it to win the game.
And we saw so many people like Kerp on the bench during week 1 when he did well. After week 2 didn't go so great, I wonder how many people put him back on the bench for week 3, where he's just gone 11-1-11. I'm sure there are a few of you out there that are quite unlucky with that.
I actually think Quickshot is using Kerp now, and I'm playing against him in our caster league. He's actually dancing right now and really being a little bit annoying.
A little bit annoying. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, I'm playing Demon, so
easy win.
That's pretty much a got to win for me for pride reasons and all that. But looking back onto it, some great performances, not just from Kerp. I want to touch on Cottonex like I did Svenskeren at the end of that last game, because he made some fantastic moves with Lee Sin.
And it's one of the reasons all the teams here, most of the teams in Europe really likes Lee Sin, as the #1 jungler, because again, you're so strong in the early fights. We saw him every time he spot out Airworks trying to set up a gank, he would join in and turn it around in favor of Millennium, of course, and just a very good early game performance. And then the bottom lane with Creaton and Jerry. As soon as they got a few kills, got the double buff onto Creaton on one of the ganks here, and Jerry with the engage in the team fights, it was just spot on.
And we heard from Woolite before that the bottom lane of Millennium never really win a lane, never really lose a lane, go even, and that was mostly true.
Yeah.
The laning phase itself did stay very, very even, but the problem is, as you said, Creaton ended up getting kills, got the double buff, ended up with another double, ended up 8-0-6 by the end of the game. So just showing, we heard from him earlier on in the season, and he said, I've played more solo queue in the last 3 days than he did the entire spring split. And we see there again that Creaton seems to be back having fun playing the game.
And I also like the fact, in this game here, Millennium, they had the lead, picked up the Baron. In the past, again, we have seen him just continue to farm, or didn't really want to go too aggressive and just wait 20 more minutes. This time around, they went straight for the base of Copenhagen Wolves, got a team fight, picked up 2 inhibitors, backed away, waited for the next Baron, and did the exact same thing, except this time they actually finished the game here. So some new aggressive play by Millennium, and really showing we have the lead here, we can win team fights, therefore we're just going to go full aggressive.
Yeah, that was always the question we had of Millennium. And the Wolves, to be honest.
True.
They were both teams that we said, okay, they're in the lead, but can they win this game, #1, without it going for about 400 hours? #2, without somehow messing up, losing a Baron here or there, or giving a team chance to farm back up enough for it. But again, Millennium looked very, very convincing in how they ended up finishing the win.
And we need to see what this win can do for them going into next week. Because again, they lost 3 games in a row. Now picked up 1 against Copenhagen Wolves. Very, very strong performance. Use this, move on to next week here, pick up some more wins. Because again, they are actually looking pretty good in the standings, even though they played the last few weeks, haven't been too impressive.
And that's the first time, just to touch on what we said in the pregame, that's the first time that Millennium have actually beaten the Copenhagen Wolves in a year, not quite a year, but in the spring split, they lost all 4 games. They lost the first one here. We saw with how close the European LCS was last split that these head-to-heads really matter.
Always, especially also because we have now SK Gaming and Alliance in the top, at least for now. So all the positions down here is where people can just rotate between each other, up and down, depending on who wins. And therefore, getting these wins, especially on the teams lower ranked than you, are just so important because it's what's going to keep you in the playoff spot, which, of course, again, is what every single team is playing for now. You want to go to Gamescom. You want to make sure you can try and qualify for Worlds.
Well, what about the Wolves? Because they themselves seem to be on a, I don't want to say a downward spiral. That might be a little too aggressive for the scenario that they're in, but they are not having fun right now by the looks of it. They are, I almost feel like banging the head against a brick wall almost every single game.
I feel like they're just trying to find a playstyle that really suits them. That's why we saw the AP tops in the start of this split here now. Twisted Fate for Kauta. We saw it a few times in the last split, of course. And again, he actually had a very good performance on Twisted Fate. Early on when it came to ganking, just his laning phase, big issues against Curb was expected when it was a Ziggs, of course. But still, it seems to me they mix up a lot of their picks and playstyle for Copenhagen Wolves every single game, except for the fact that Woolite will always pick something that goes into the late game where he can carry the team, and they put a lot of focus on getting him ahead early on. That's why we saw the ganks from Kautard, ganks from Airworks down to the bottom lane. That's the only thing that, for me, is set in stone with their Copenhagen Wolves tactic. So I feel like they're just trying to find what works for us. Once they find it, they have good players. I'm sure they can actually bounce back.
Well, we'll see. Still a lot of games to be played in the summer split here. But for now, we're going to check in with Shox and Quickshot, who are Rift side with Millennium's Kevin.
Thank you very much, Joe. First off, congratulations, Kevin, on that victory versus the Copenhagen Wolves. Let's break it down from the beginning. Picks and bans, late game components in both teams, and you going for your one and true love, of course, Aurelia.
Yeah, so pick and bans went how we thought about it. We got what we want to, and I think we kind of figured out what they want to play. We banned the Twitch, so Woolite is a strong player on Twitch, and we predicted that we will go for a Kokma, so we went instant for the just full engage hum comp. And yeah, Aurelia. This game I was more like food but I wasn't the carry. But at least I'm a champion.
I'm happy to say that because I was going to say, not the strongest performance we've seen from you, Kevin. I do want to ask, why Aurelia in this game? Trundle was up, we've seen that Jax was banned away. So what's the thought process in your head and in Millennium's head as to what goes, now I can play Aurelia?
All right, so they had Twisted Fate, Trash, and a lot of CC overall. So a lot of slows, a lot of stuff like that. So I was just like, okay, I have Shyvana in case, but I don't feel too good right now on her. I feel I don't have impact like Youngbuck did here. He jumped in and died. So I feel the same. So I take a bit distance from her a bit. So yeah, Irelia, just my favorite pick, and I'm always safe even when I'm 3 levels behind like this game. I will still go aggressive. I will still go hum, yeah, because I just know that I can survive and I know the limits of the champion.
Absolutely not the best early game for you, but we see that impact you can make in team fights, and we actually have an example of one of those team fights lined up for you guys. You can pull that replay up on the screen and you can walk us through the specifics of playing Aurelia.
So 29 minutes in, you guys are very far ahead, 8,000. This is one of the team fights where you actually had quite a nice play. So talk me through what the communication was like. I can see you in the bottom lane starting to rejoin. So let's roll this clip out and talk me about your communication, your decision making.
So here we already kind of knew Evelyn is behind us, and she already engaged instantly with TF. We didn't expect the TF ulti, but immediately I tried to TP and help. And the call was just to kill the front line. They peeled perfectly for Shyvana. I could just really attack whoever I wanted, and that was basically it. Like, we wanted to peel for Ziggs because he was just super strong, and Kraton had just amazing positioning there, so he was in no danger at all. And yeah, we could just turn it around.
It worked out very well. You guys got control of the game and never let go. I've got a question about Kerp on Ziggs in particular. Do you guys as a team play a lot around Ziggs? Because it seems like when Kerp is on Ziggs, Millennium plays at a higher level than when Kerp is not on Ziggs.
I don't think we play more about Ziggs. It's just that if he plays Ziggs, he farms a ton. Like, he roams really good. He does the bombs to help out the lanes in case they 3-man push or 4-man push. I think overall, I don't think we support him too much in mid lane. Of course,
don't need to.
Exactly, we don't need to. Like, he's just overall a super strong player on it, and I don't know why, but he has the potential to kill even 1v1. So on other champions, it's a bit different because other champions has, of course, higher risk and higher reward. So Ziggs is just safe pick, and if Kerp plays on a safe and aggressive champion as well, then he's just really strong.
Well, let's actually take another step back because, of course, you guys coming in here, week 1, 3-1, all the hype for Millennium, Kraton saying how he's had this newfound enjoyment of the game. So what happened between then and the weeks after where you guys haven't performed at that level?
So after week 1, we felt good. We felt really good. But already in the scrims, we felt that the other teams improved really fast. They managed to fix the rotations, the level 1s, and the swaps really good, which we didn't at that point. So that was basically the key why we lost a lot of games like that in week 2. We had, basically we had struggles to fix the problems we had with the rotations. We still have. We still have to work on that, and if we can fix that, I don't know. We were just...
So as a final question, you guys seem to have the ability to just destroy when you hit everything. But you have lost a couple of games. So if we compare Millennium now with Cotnex in the jungle to Millennium with RNA in the jungle from the spring split, what is the mood and the feeling like in the team? Are you panicking that the same thing may happen, that if you don't fix things properly now, you may face a promotion tournament again?
So right now, of course, it's a bit of pressure because we are losing a lot, and scrims didn't went too well as well. So, but we try to keep a cool head. We know what we do wrong. The thing is just we don't have a exact person who just tells us how to fix it, and basically how to fix it. We see our problems, but we cannot just teach ourselves that fast. So I think that's the most important part. Why we are not that strong yet. And why we can't compete with such SK or Alliance. But the future will tell. We hope we can face them and destroy them as well.
Well, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Kevin, as for us, we're going to go into a short break, but when we come back, what a matchup we have lined up. The Super Hot Crew as they take on Alliance. We'll be back in 3.5. Don't move.
Taco, taco. Burrito, burrito. Are you gonna stay there?
A little bit further away from now on. There's the kickback. The bomb's coming through. The bomb, will it get anyone? It does.
So many just staying there on curb as well. A lot of time on the counter.
That's on in trouble. That's it. We use a flash, but the bomb comes through. Got him.
Go, Potter. Go mid. Got him. Kick him. Yeah, well, in. Oh, yeah. The combo. One more combo.
Destiny's going to be used. Airwack's going to flank around the side. Where are they going to go? It's Youngbuck. They're trying to get into the middle. Kerp is actually going to throw the bomb up in the air. Youngbuck will be finished off another back. Kevin is absolutely destroying everyone. What they got there is Airwax is going to come around the side. Youngbuck diving in the middle, but the bomb already goes off. They've killed off Unlimited, but there is a kill back here for the Wolves. This is definitely not over.